What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have some huge news to cover in today's video. Elon Musk might be selling a pretty big portion of his Tesla stock. We're also going to be covering some pretty good stock setups in the market right now. And overall, we have a great video, so make sure to stay to the end and let us know what stocks you are watching in the comments down below, and we'll probably take a look at them in tomorrow's video. But Tom, I know across the board, a lot of people are looking at Tesla. What's the news with this one?
Yeah, this is actually some pretty crazy news, and I have an awesome screenshot here for us. Elon Musk was having some fun on Twitter this weekend. He actually came out and said that he was looking at selling 10% of his Tesla stock, which is a pretty big deal, if he's selling 10%. But the reason he's doing it is because he said much is made lately of unrealized gains being a means of tax avoidance. And he's actually came out and he's been criticizing a billionaire tax that's been proposed by Democrats, which could affect up to 700 billionaires and impose taxes for long-term capital gains on tradable assets, whether or not they've been sold yet, which is a pretty big deal. But you can see that he pretty much said, note, I do not take a cash salary or bonus from anywhere. I only have stock. Thus, this is the only way for me to pay taxes personally is to sell stock. So he's kind of making it into something where he's selling this to almost pay taxes in a way because, he's been taking some flack for tax avoidance and stuff like that, obviously being the richest man in the world. So he's pretty much selling some of his Tesla stock to, number one, pay some taxes now, but then number two, he might even save some money because if he pays those taxes now, he might have to pay less tax in the future.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, at the same time, Tesla stock is exploding up. And, if you guys have an opinion on this, let Elon know on Twitter. The poll's still running, and he said he's going to abide by the polls. So if, a bunch of people vote yes, he'll sell some stock. And if most vote no, he's not. So definitely let him know on Twitter. It's a very interesting situation. And Tom, I'm sure, if a lot of people vote yes with Tesla stock, or yes on the poll, if Elon's selling 10% of his position, I feel like that'd be a lot of selling pressure coming into the stock.
Yeah, that really is. And, we have a huge resistance up here around 1240 to 1250. It seems like the stock hit a pretty big wall right there. And I would feel like, that could end up being a pretty big upper resistance level here if he ends up selling that. That'll obviously create a lot of selling pressure. And the way Tesla was moving on Friday was kind of to the downside anyways. So it's definitely not going to be good, I don't think, Monday morning. Right now, the poll is yes. This is fairly accurate. This screenshot was taken about 30 minutes ago or so. I believe that the poll will probably end up being a yes. There's already been 3 million votes, believe it or not. That's actually quite a bit. So I really think that this might end up making their stock fall here in the short term, especially since we've had this humongous uptrend over the past couple of weeks. And who could call the top better than Elon up here selling his shares at the very top here?
Right? Yeah, that's crazy. So, Tom, maybe we keep an eye on this poll, and if we see a lot of yeses coming in, maybe we look for some puts or something like that. Because I know that a lot of selling pressure will definitely come in from Elon, and at the same time, like you said, we're at a pretty major resistance. So definitely good stuff there. Tesla is definitely one to keep on your radar. But what else do we have moving?
Yeah, LCID, which is another EV stock, is actually running up pretty good, Mike. If we look at them on the 1-year daily chart, they're having a lot of movement here to the upside. They actually broke their high there around 4150 on Friday, and it had a pretty nice uptrend. And I will say the daily looks pretty good for Lucid. The whole EV sector has honestly just been on fire as Tesla has been running up. And another sector that's starting to heat up is actually the airlines. And we can see that Delta Airlines had a pretty big move to the upside. And there was actually some good news that came out over the weekend about these airlines. And apparently CNBC is reporting that on Monday, the US will lift a pandemic travel ban on international visitors from more than 30 countries after 19 months. Of course, there will be new rules in place, like they'll have to show their proof of vaccination and their recent negative COVID test. But either way, United Airlines said that they expect 50% more international inbound passengers on Monday from a week earlier when it carried 20,000 people. And Delta Airlines said that they expect many of their international flights on Monday to be full. And then they also expect strong demand over the past few weeks. And the airlines had honestly been in a pretty bad downtrend there, Mike. And last week they had a pretty big move back up. And this news sounds pretty promising. They'll have a lot more passengers and a lot more flights coming in here.
There we go. So yeah, these airlines are looking pretty good. The cruise lines aren't looking too bad either. I know that just these two industries have been struggling so much over, the past 2 years, but especially over like the past couple of weeks. So either way, I feel like they're still at some pretty good levels. I know that they were up quite a bit on Friday, but in the grand scheme of things, they're at some pretty decent levels.
Yeah, they really are. And I feel like they're even good for the longer term and the shorter term, especially with this type of news. I feel like that could really help out some of these airlines like Delta. And kind of like what we talked about last week, some of these stocks are getting back up to some of these resistance levels that they've bounced off of a couple of times over the past few months. So hopefully we start to see some breaks right there.
There we go. So what other news do we have for this week?
Powell is making 2 appearances this week, and I don't think it's going to make too big of a difference. It's just at some conferences, and he always comes out and talks at some of these smaller conferences and stuff. It's probably not going to be anything too big. Definitely nothing like the FOMC last week. As we can see, the market here is at all-time highs, and there is going to be some inflation data coming out. I believe the CPI data is coming out sometime this week, so definitely keep your eyes out for that. I know lots of people have been watching that inflation numbers a lot lately.
All right, and then I know that we have a lot of big earnings too. A lot of these growth stocks are reporting, like NEO. I know we even have AMC on Monday.
Yeah, AMC's on Monday, PayPal, NIO, Coinbase is actually on Tuesday. Earnings Whispers actually had them on Friday last week, but I believe that they made a mistake there. We have Workhorse also on Tuesday. One of my favorite ones this week is actually going to be Wednesday with Walt Disney, Mike. I know that's going to be one of the bigger ones that we're watching this week. I'm also really watching Blink on Thursday. I think that's going to be a pretty big one right there.
There we go. Disney will definitely be like the top one for me this week. I've been watching them for months and they just have been doing nothing, no upwards or downwards movement. But on Friday, they were actually looking pretty good, Tom. Like they had a good amount of volume coming in. They were starting to break out. And like I know that they finished up 3%, which, isn't like a crazy amount, but it's still better than nothing.
Yeah, definitely. And they had a pretty good bounce off that support. And then another one I'm watching is Unity. I know they're reporting this week as well, and they've been on a pretty nice uptrend also.
All right, so let's get right into today's member of the day, and that is Outlaw Star on YouTube. So huge shout out, Outlaw. Thank you so much for all the support. They are always commenting on the videos, and they're just very supportive. So huge shout out to Outlaw Star. Thank you so much for all of your support and all of the comments. The comments really help grow the channel. So thank you for everything. And now let's get right into these momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have CCL to the upside.
Yeah, and with Carnival Cruise Lines, go ahead and make them break out above 25.30 tomorrow morning.
All right, with the next one, we have Boeing also to the upside.
Yeah, Boeing is actually really turned it around. Make them break out above 224.60.
Sounds good. With the last one, we have Square, but this one is to the downside.
Yeah, unfortunately, they had a pretty bad move on earnings. Make them fall below 235 even.
All right, so we're watching the first two plays to the upside, so CCL and Boeing to the upside, and then we are watching Square to the downside, but these are only plays if they break the levels Tom listed. And now let's get right into the comments from the previous video. With the first comment, we have Ryan saying, what do you guys think about Qualcomm? I like them long term. So Tom, I know you follow these chip stocks a lot more than I do. What are your thoughts on Qualcomm?
Yeah, I actually really like them for the longer term as well. I know that NVIDIA and AMD have been killing it lately. Qualcomm is definitely not one of them, but they're definitely an awesome chip stock. I know that they make some of the processors for different phones and stuff like that. The name of their processor is called the Qualcomm Snapdragon. They make it's a pretty cool name. That's the only reason I brought it up, to be honest, but it's a pretty decent stock here. It just broke all-time highs, so definitely watch it. It might have a little bit of a fake out here, but I would definitely look at it to the upside. If we can continue to break out and we can break above like 170, I feel like we could have a pretty decent move. And it had such a strong Friday there that I would really watch for that momentum to continue up.
There we go. I mean, these chip stocks are going crazy, Tom. You look at Qualcomm, AMD, Nvidia, like they're just exploding. Like it's pretty awesome to see these types of moves. So awesome stuff there. Even Intel's trying to pop back up. So good stuff. Then we have Mandy saying, thank you again for the info, guys. What do you think of UWMC with a 2 million float today? So I've heard a lot of good things about this one. Their chart looks pretty bad, if we're being honest. I know they pay a decent dividend, but honestly, it's just I haven't looked into it too much. I've heard a lot of good things, but with the way the chart's looking, it's definitely has me a little nervous.
Yeah, me too. It looks like we're seeing a little bit of a double top right here, right around like $7.35. So definitely be careful of that resistance. It looks like we are seeing a couple of red candles right after that. If the earnings go well, I could see them popping up here over the next couple of weeks, of course, but I think the earnings are definitely going to dictate this one.
All right. Then we have George saying, I think DDOG deserves a little attention. Great video, guys, and what a week. Yeah, so DDOG had an amazing day on Friday, up around 11% off of that earnings move. But, they're just exploding up. And, you look at that daily chart of them, and Tom, they're just like basically doing nothing but go straight up.
Yeah, they really are. Reminds me of like a UPST almost. It's just they're in such an awesome sector. They're having such awesome numbers as well. It's really good to see them reporting such great numbers. They were expected to have a negative EPS. They came in with a 0.13 to the positive side. It's looking really good lately. They keep breaking resistance after resistance, and I know that they're in that awesome type of tech slash, I guess you could say, like cybersecurity slash like cloud sector. So it's just a really good sector. And I really like these type of companies for the long term. And I'm really kind of eyeing up PLTR as kind of like an awesome like AI play for the longer term here.
Awesome. All right. And then we have Matt saying, what are your thoughts on Ford? It has been nonstop looking for consolidation for a couple months. Do have my $20 covered calls in January expire worthless. Worried though. So great comment, Matt. Ford has been on an amazing uptrend, and like Tom pointed out earlier in the video, a lot of these EV stocks are like Lucid, of course we know Tesla, but just a lot of like these auto manufacturers have been running up, and especially the electric vehicle ones. So GM's also running up there too. I know you have the 20 strike covered calls for January, and at the end of the day, like even if they don't expire worthless, like it'll be an amazing profit for you. So I think you're in a pretty good position, or at least that's what it sounds like. And let's say Ford explodes up to maybe 21 or something like that. You can always just roll your covered calls. So, you might take a loss on the 20 strike covered calls that expire in January, but you can just roll it out to like March or April or something like that. But generally speaking, Ford stock is looking pretty good. It's nice to see this awesome run up, and I really like how Ford's adapting to like that EV industry.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see. And they've even had like production problems the past couple of months with like all these chip delays and stuff like that. And their stock is still going up. So I think that's awesome to see. I'm glad that the earnings helped them get another boost back to the upside. And overall, they've just continued to break resistance after resistance. Actually, this week, I was eyeing up this huge $18 resistance from all the way back in 2014 and 2015, and we just blew right by it heading up towards $20. So yeah, Ford just has a lot of momentum right now, and it's definitely with that EV news.
There we go. So, Tom, we have a big week ahead of us. Lots of earnings. I know we have that catalyst with Tesla. So, what are some of the top setups or top stocks you have your eyes on?
I'm definitely going to be looking at Tesla just in case they end up going to the downside with Elon coming out with this poll. He said that he will do whatever the poll says, and I'll be honest, I honestly believe him. So if it comes out and says yes, I really think that he's going to sell. So definitely just keep your eyes out for that. If he sells 10% of his stock, that might trigger a little bit of selling pressure here, especially with how we just broke all-time highs. I feel like that we've had a very strong run up here, and I could definitely see it pulling back just a little bit. I'm also going to be eyeing up, though, the cruise lines and the airlines. I think these are some amazing sectors for the next couple of weeks, especially with how these airlines just announced how these international flights are going to be allowed once again. So I think this is just going to be awesome news for them. And they've been on the uptrend over the past week. So hopefully we can start to break these resistance levels.
Yep, you gotta love Elon. Like, what other billionaire asks his Twitter followers if he should sell 10% of his Tesla stock? Oh,
Yeah, it's just
God.
crazy. I mean, he's one of a kind, and I think that's why everyone loves him, to be honest. He's definitely an outlier, and it's really awesome. I think that he interacts with the community like that.
You know it. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We have a big week ahead of us. If you are an options trader, definitely check out the first link in the description and the comments down below. Daily option swing trades, day trades, order flow bots, and you can chat with Tom and myself all day long. We have a coupon running in our day trading bot. Every single play from last week popped for at least 12%, and the best one popped for just under 57%. It's definitely worth trying it out, even if it's only for 1 month. We have a coupon running. Again, it'll be the first link in the description and the comments down below. But other than that, let's have a great week.